Hello everybody and welcome to the second round of the Racing Pals RP series brought to you on Le Mans Ultimate. Today we are going to Monza, the Italian Temple of Speed, as we are just coming into the last moments of the service setup time. We get 5 minutes before everything starts, just so that everyone can get in, get themselves ready, and ready to go. We are moving immediately into qualifying. What we're going to do is let's jump with this man here, Mr. Pierre Moreno. He had a very, very good run out last time. So yes, for those of you who are new to the RP series on Le Mans Ultimate, it is a Hypercar and GT3 series. Both the Hypercars and the GT3s battling it out. We will jump on board here with Pierre Moreno. Is that we see him coming through Curva Grande. Now into the second chicane. This is going to be a very interesting race around Monza. Monza is one of those circuits that is hard to control your car around, offers some great racing, and also a big opportunity for there to possibly be some roundy abouties as well, especially on the run down to turn 1 and then into Curva Grande. I mean, the first chicane will be a very interesting one to look into, as here we go into Huski on the brakes, down the gears. You can see a mid shift there, curb, 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 run the car out as wide as you can get it before hitting the gravel on the exit. Then we go down and we will about to be on. We will about to be there ready for a first flying lap here for Pierre Moreno. So we'll stay on board with the Porsche as we head down the start finish straight. 280, 290, 300 kilometers an hour. Where's the braking point? About 175, down the gears into first for the first chicane, over the curb. Over the curb, it is very tight as well, so you need to be careful, more so in a racing scenario, of going side by side through it. And then through Curva Grande we go, already peaking back up to 300 kilometers an hour just before the braking point. Curb, curb, you haven't got much runoff on the exit there before you're in the gravel. Then into Lesmo 1, right-hander, you do get a little bit more to play with. Then into the second Lesmo, it dips very much down at the apex, and then straight off we go back down under the bridge on the run up to Huski. Again, down the gears, take as much of the first curb as you dare. As I will have the chat open as well during the stream. If you want to come and have a chat, well, if you want to say something to me, I can't guarantee that all messages will get on the stream. However, I will try my best as Pierre Moreno across the line there. We'll grab the tower back up. Yamik Smith also setting the fastest time. Yamik Smith at 136.010, immediately taken by Powell Stenner with a 135.997. So the game is looking a little bit unhappy with me for some mildly obscure reason. We have, from the look of it, 10 hypercars and 12 GT3s. That is a very, very big grid. And that is one that I do think will have some insane racing. As let's have a look. Here, this is Martin Kovacs in the Corvette. He is currently running first in class. Kovacs running currently P1 in class with a 150.347, so it shows about 20-ish, just under seconds between the GT3s and the not LMPs, not LMP anymore, and the Hypercars. As movement back up there in the Hypercar as well. Pierre Moreno taking provisional pole, and Yamik Smith just in behind, under a tenth between the two drivers, and then Stenner straight back in. So here we go. The target time for Yamik Smith to beat is a 1:35.4. 3.5 tenths more or less down as we head into the first and then the second Lesmo. He is in the Peugeot. Very interesting vehicle to be running in, I must say myself. Then under the bridge towards Ascari. And has he just pulled over? Yeah, it looks like he just pulled over there. So here is your man to beat at the moment for the Hypercars. It's Paul Stenner. And already a little bit down in the first sector, but then a tenth just above up through the second. He has really got that Toyota in on itself. Also a bit of extra news down in the LMGT3 class with the GT3s. Robert Molling has taken provisional pole with 0.015 gap over Martin Kovacs. So that top three in the LMGT3 is looking very, very tasty as Paul Stenner extends his gap out now. 135.222. Does Pierre Moreno have a response to this? We will keep you updated because we are going to have a look here at Thomas Jack. Thomas Jack, one of the stalwarts of the RP series. He has been in it for, I think, really as long as I have. I remember seeing Tom during like my first or second season. He has been a very quick driver, very racy, has got a couple of title wins under his belt. Now into the next generation for the RP series in Le Mans Ultimate. It will be a very interesting time to see what Tom can do across the line that time round. A 150.574. So we will keep a close eye. Pierre Moreno, he is up on the sector 0.002 sector 1, 0.180 sector 2. Is that going to be enough to see Pierre Moreno on provisional pole? Yes, it is. 135.093. Now the question is, has Paul Stenner got a response? He is pretty much in the same bit of the circuit. Now across the line, what is it? It's a 135.068. That is Paul Stenner back up onto provisional pole with a gap of 200ths, of a second. 0.025 over Pierre Moreno. What a lap that is for him. Now we'll look at Thomas Jack. 0.004 up in the first sector over Robert Molling. But then the question will be, how will he get through Will he be able to carry that speed on? He is in the Mustang GT3, and it is, I think, a rather strong car. But right now, your top 5 in GT3, Ferrari, Corvette, Mustang, Aston Martin, and McLaren. That is a very, very interesting top 5 there for the GT3 cars. As Thomas Jack is heading into the pit lane, so I'm not sure if possibly he has decided to abort his qualifying session and give himself the time that he's got there. Here is another driver that we saw a lot from at the last round in Bahrain, of Tobias Gesh. He had a very, very good race to begin with, locked in a strong battle, but it sounds like that is his qualifying over. Someone else who looks like they may be able to get another time out is Gianluca Petrillo in the Ferrari, but no, it doesn't look as such. I think that may more or less be qualifying over. Martin Kovacs, it doesn't, looks like he might actually get another time out, so we'll have a look. Someone else that's still out on track as well is Robin Mo, as we all know him as well. Again, another driver we've seen a lot from in RP series. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the drivers, we've got some names returning, some new names appearing, and that is one of the things I love about this league, is how many different people we see come in and go, see where they slot in. It's always an interesting thing at the start of the season, especially for me, being able to sit there and go, I know these people, I haven't seen these people, let's see what happens. As Kovacs across the line now, it doesn't look like an improvement for him. I think that will be the end of our qualifying. No, because Paul Stenner is coming along just to extend his time out a little bit more there. 134.622. He was already safe on provisional pole, but how he just wanted, I think, there to extend that gap out even more now to just under half a second. That was an immense lap from him. So we will soon be heading into the race itself. A thing to note as well, and here we go, this will be the interesting part. We are apparently due rain. Now, Monza is scary enough. Monza with rain? Okay. Yep, here we go on to the starting grid. So, here is your starting order. Taking pole position is Paul Stenner in the Toyota, followed by Pierre Moreno in second place. Third and fourth goes to Gianluca Petrillo and Yamik Smith. Then fifth and sixth, Tobias Gesh and Tom Tweedy, the Cadillac and the second Porsche. 7th and 8th, Jose Flores and Adam Gadek, the third Porsche, and the, I think, 9th and 10th, Senna Dereich and Daniel Scott. Then 11th and 12th, Dale Hughes. And then into GT3, we have Robin Molling taking provisional pole for that. In 13th and 14th is Martin Kovacs and Thomas Jack. That will be a very tasty battle up the front there. In 15th and 16th, we have Jamie Booth and Mark McNaughton, one of the McNaughtons. In 17th and 18th is Tommy Teasdale and Vasilis Katarinakis. In 19th and 20th, we have Fail Games and James Andrews. Then 21st and 22nd is David Epishashvili and Raffaele Sanseverino. And then in 23rd, we have Justin Gottlieb. So it looks like, I was saying that Adrian McNaughton would be... Adrian McNaughton doesn't look like he's here today. So it's Mark McNaughton. And here are the ending results of the qualifying. So Paul Stenner 134.622. Pierre Moreno in second. And the rest of the results are there for the Hypercar. And then the GT3, the best time there was a 150.332. And then Raffaele Sansevero and Gottlieb back there as well. I did just forget that I forgot to go on to page 2 of the Hypercar there to show you Dale Hughes. So we will soon be getting ready. 35 seconds until the formation lap begins. This will be an interesting one, I think. So, if you haven't already, grab yourself a drink, get yourself comfortable, because we are about to go racing here for the RP series. It's going to be a tricky one to call, I think, as we get going off of the... formation lap, just the last corner formation lap here. It's gonna be very interesting as we'll just try and get the camera angle that we would like here. There we go for the start of the race. Sorry, I'm fighting with camera angles here. So we are about to go green. Paul Stenner on pole position. Pierre Moreno behind with Gianluca Petrillo and Yannick Smith. We go green here at Monza for an hour of racing. And already it looks like the Hypercars are staying in a bundle. Same with the GT3s. But it looks like Pierre Moreno will get the outside on Paul Stenner, who bounces across the curbs. He has to take to the car. It looks and sounds like there is a little bit of backing up there. Yes, I did mention that the rain was coming down. And indeed, the rain is coming down. So it looks like Pierre Moreno is taking the lead out of the first corner with Paul Stenner down in third position. We have a crash behind. There is contact there. I'm not 100% sure who's going off. I think Tom Tweedy was one of them in the Peugeot. And who else was there? Tobias Gesh as well, by the look of it. He'll be down there with the GT3s now, which will not be what he would have wanted to see. And that is the thing about Monza, is that this happens. But now, up the front again is Paul Stenner and Gianluca Petrillo. This is going to be interesting. Pierre Moreno has dropped down to third position. There is a yellow flag behind, but I'm not 100% sure why. Adam Gadek here also having to fight his way back up through the pack of GT3s. But that shouldn't be overly difficult. Now, looking further back, who have we got where? What are we doing? As it looks like Petrillo's run wide. This has allowed Pierre Moreno back into the fray as well, and he slides his way past. A bit further back, we have what looks like Tom Tweedy chasing down the rear end of his Peugeot compatriot Yannick Smith on the brakes now for the first chicane. They're going to stay together. Daniel Scott, however, a little bit further back. It looks like he just made his way past Senna. That is a very, very, for Monza really, I will say, a standard first lap, as We also have Adam Gadek in the pits as well. That is not what he would have wanted today. Going further back though, here we see Thomas Jack. He's still in third, but he is chasing down Robin Moe. These two we know from previous seasons of the RP series race themselves very tightly together. And it's always an absolute treat watching them. But who will be out on top here, as I do need to look a little bit further back into the corner. This is Jamie Booth. He is defending from Tommy Teasdale behind and also attacking Mark McNaughton up front. He's trying down the inside into the second Lesmo, and he makes the move work. Now the question is, will Tommy Teasdale also be able to make his way past the McLaren? This is why we call the rain the great equalizer in this, because really once the rain comes down, different cars can take the rain very differently, and some take it better than others. However, a lot of rain driving does in fact come down to, what's the word I'm looking for here? It does in fact come down to the driver themselves. As I'm just going to quickly look at the chat. Fail Games is saying rain. Yep. Yes, there is. We also have Sergen. Let's go Porsche Penske drivers. We have a couple of them out there. And we also have Steven saying first time his son Senna joins. He playing normal like ACC. He is doing well at the moment. P7 for Senna, and he is actually, from the look of it, closing the gap as well. As here we see, who is it indeed? It is Daniel Scott. I mean, look, we have another yellow flag, so I'm not 100% sure why that yellow flag is. I'm not getting a great deal of information when it comes to LMU, but I will be trying to keep myself in the loop for you guys as best as possible. But we still have Thomas Jack chasing down Robin Molling. Thomas Jack there just going a little bit wide in the Mustang. I call it a land boat, which, I mean, yeah, very true. And then we also have Vasilis here. He is still fighting with Justin Gottlieb. We've got the Mustang. That is Vasilis, and the McLaren up ahead. That is Justin. Let's have a look here. And they are chasing each other down. Now, running nose to tail down here, don't make yourself too much of a easy target. Go defensive a little bit earlier to try and get them to move over, but try not to accept any lunges down the inside into the Ascari chicane, because that is not the most ideal of circumstances at all to be under. Vasiliso still fighting. We're on the rear bumper of Justin Gottlieb, and on the brakes, just look at how that Mustang appears. Now, you don't want to be running wide here, Justin, because that will give Vasilis the opportunity to stick the Mustang right down, and if he can stay side by side with you towards the chicane, he can win it, but it doesn't look like he'll need to. That is Vasilis moved up into P19 overall, but it looks like Justin is going to be coming back for another go into the chicane, possibly. Vasilis moves over to defend. Not enough room there for him to get that to work, but it was definitely worth a shot. As further up, we have Tom Tweedy, who is now under attack by Senna. Here we go. That Ferrari is all over the rear end of the Peugeot. A little bit of a flash there, so possibly the two Peugeots coming together. Keep an eye on the yellow Ferrari. Have a look and see. Not trying it into Parabolica, but the Peugeot going a little bit wide. Possibly the opportunity here to stuff it down the inside, but not at this current moment, as on the rear wing, if we can call it that, of the Peugeot, just trying to break the toe. The Ferrari having a little bit of a worse run out, but on the brakes, having a look there, just poking the nose in, just to see is the possibility there for me to do it this time round? And at this moment, it was not. But now, into Curva Grande. Let's have a look. If you take a wider line, you could actually get yourself the cutback. But Tom Tweedy always on the defense at the moment. He's got that Ferrari all over his mirrors. He's gone a little bit pear-shaped into the chicane, which has allowed Senna down the inside and just to get himself past now up into P6. He's got a gap of approximately 1.1 seconds before catching the group that is 5th, 4th and 3rd all together. Now let's have a look. Gianluca Petrillo under attack from Jose Flores. They are, from the look of it, going to be side by side into Ascari. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel banging. Petrillo gets through ahead, manages to cover off that Peugeot, but a snap of oversteer. That is Gianluca Petrillo in the barrier on the exit of Ascari. That is not what he would have wanted to see at all. And that has really opened up now the opportunity for Senna to battle for P4 against Jose Flores. Half a second separating the two hypercars. Again, it's Peugeot against Ferrari. Jose is the car ahead. Senna is the car behind. Let us have a look and see, and possibly maybe a bit of an exploratory move into the chicane. But Jose goes deep. He is going to have to cut the chicane. So too does Tom Tweedy. Now, the question will be, Jose Flores definitely giving up time there by the look of it to account for the chicane cut that he did. This is going to allow Senna a very good opportunity if he can just stay on the rear bumper of that Peugeot, way up where that car is strong and weak against his own. It might be the perfect chance, as we have a car off there in the gravel. That is James Andrews. I'm not sure what's happening there. I haven't got access to a replay. However, someone in the chat might be able to enlighten me. As looking further back, Tom Tweedy on Daniel Scott. Again, this looks like it's going to be a fight into Ascari. Peugeot on the outside. Daniel Scott on the inside. It looks like Daniel Scott is going to hold it on for now at the very least. But Tom Tweedy is going to be, I think, a thorn in the side of Daniel Scott, as on board with the 93 Peugeot piloted by Tom Tweedy. He is chasing down that Ferrari. So at the moment, with 10 minutes in, here is your current standings for your class leaders. So Paul Stenner is in the lead for Hypercar, followed by Pierre Moreno, Smith, Flores and Derosike. Then in LMGT3 is Kovacs, Robin Molling and Thomas Jack, followed by Booth and McNaughton. As just as I was reading through that, Daniel Scott and Thomas Tweedy having a bit of a battle there. Looks like they came to blow just a little bit, but Tom Tweedy has just for now got himself past. We have still got the pit stops to come as well. This is where it gets interesting in a series such as this, because you need to take your pit stops, either 1 or 2 dependent. I'm not 100% sure on the rain tyres in Le Mans Ultimate. I mean, let's just quickly jump on board with Mark McNaughton. Yeah, the rain is still coming down at this moment in time. So it's definitely getting lighter though by the look of it. I can't see the track looking overly too wet. I mean, this is from me sitting here looking at the trackside cameras. Obviously the drivers might be seeing, oh, big snap of oversteer there from Senna, but he's actually managed to hold that on. That was a drift angle and a half. I will hats off for that. We saw it earlier with Gianluca Petrillo getting a little bit of oversteer on the exit and overcorrecting, and that's what sent him into the barrier. It's always a very scary one when it happens, especially for Huski with the speed you're taking it. So always to keep out the barrier and to keep it where it is, that, very good. But we've already got a GT3 car there. Little bit of traffic into the chicane, though. Not a bad place, really, to come across one, as now we're looking further back into the battle for second place in GT3. This is still Robin Molling ahead with Thomas Jack behind. These two are reliving old rivalries. I can tell you that now. This is where someone tells me it's not the Robin that I'm thinking of, which would not be the most ideal of things. And, ooh, from the look of it, sorry, I'm just noticing it looks like the clouds are getting a bit darker once again. I mean, the windscreen wipers are still on, and you can still see a sheen on the track, because I think that's Pierre Moreno just coming through. Is it? No, it's not. It's Adam Gadek. Just coming through to technically fight for position. He had that incident earlier on, which has put him down into P12 now. So he's just working his way back up. Here we have the fight between Yamik Smith and Jose Flores. Flores is the car behind. Yamik Smith is the car ahead. This is going to be a little bit interesting to keep an eye on, because they're both in the exact same liveried car. So, down the start-finish straight into the first chicane. Let's have a look here on the brakes. I think Yamik Smith is holding ahead for now. Little bit of bumpy as they head through, but for the moment, Yamik Smith is up ahead now. The gap is 0.8 between the two drivers. Let's just quickly jump back, and here is Adam Gadek just getting his way past Martin Kovacs to take the lead of the GT3 class. And well, so the gap has opened up again just a little bit between these cars. I'm guessing traffic is the cause of this. As I think Jose Flores has gotten himself stuck behind the Porsche for now. Yes, he has. This is going to mean that Senna will have a better opportunity to overtake the lapped traffic. Well, the lapped Porsche at the moment, because I think that is one of the, well, it's one of the McLarens there that's just going to hold him up through Huski. Not the best of places to come across lapped traffic there at all, as we are now back with the fight for third of the Hypercar class. We've got Yamik Smith up ahead again and Jose Flores at the back. Now these two, they had a very good fight into turn one. The gap is a 10th. Jose Flores trying again to the outside. But Yamik Smith just defends once more. Little bit of a snap of oversteer there for Flores, but now they're going to come across lapped cars into Curva Grande. That is Robin Molling and Thomas Jack there, having their little fight of their own. Now, Jose Flores might have seen the opportunity, but no, not as quite. And the more these two battle, the closer and closer that is going to bring Senna. You can see him just there in the background into this as well, because as you fight other cars, you slow yourself down. So that is where it will be very interesting to see, because that gap between the two of them at the moment is now up to 4.5 seconds. That shows you the difference that lapped traffic can make. And we're still seeing these guys going hammer and tongue. There's Martin Kovacs there, just happily living in P1 in his class. And he's just not wanting anything to happen to that. This is that moment, because for him, everything is going really well. Thomas Jack and Robin Molling are fighting. But it looks like, from the very look of it, Jose Flores might actually have the inside on Yamik Smith this time around. But it looks like Yamik Smith, once again, just has the better getaway out of the corner. But now they are really side by side. But once again, Jose Flores just cannot find his way past in the chicane. But I am thinking, for now, we're not going to, I think, be seeing a lot of fighting at the moment, because let's just have a quick look at the energy remaining for all the drivers. So Adam Gadek here is an outlier when it comes to power usage there, because he had his pit stop earlier on. But Stenner 20%, Moreno 18, 20, 20, 16, 22, 23, 25, 24, 20. That is roughly the same. So we will, I think, soon be seeing the cars hitting the pit lane. I mean, we are only 20 minutes into the race thus far. And for anyone wondering, everybody is using wet tyres. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I think, for the moment, as I can see us coming up to some more lapped cars up ahead. Let's just have a look. I can't quite tell who that is. I mean, the gaps for the top three in Hypercar are very, very interesting. Paul Stenner having an 8.7-ish second lead over Pierre Moreno, who himself has a 6.6 second lead ahead Yamik Smith, who only has 6 or 7-ish tenths to Yamik Smith. So it is definitely, I think, for now, the battle for third place in the Hypercar at the moment is really bearing us any fruit. Sorry if I just sound a bit further away there for a moment. I just had to go and grab my drink. So. We are seeing our first driver box in. It is the GT3 of Fail Games. So maybe he's thinking it's time now for him to move on to dry tyres, but at the moment I can't see why you would want to, because you can see there is still rain coming down. It's still wet on the circuit. That doesn't seem to be the strategy at the minute, or unless he's running on a two-stop strategy, because I believe still we are running 2 times tyre wear, which will mean that your tyres will burn out quicker. Sorry, I'm just trying to do mental mathematics in my head here. It'll mean your tyre wear's longer as well, and keep in mind for the Hypercar drivers, they have to worry about the virtual energy as well. But Senna also dropping into the pits there in the 83 Ferrari, so he's taking an earlier pit stop. But it might possibly be the play, but it will depend, because I don't believe this rain is going to stop coming down for quite a while. But still, we're with the Yamik Smith fight here against Jose Flores. They are still coming around to GT3 traffic. As oh, there is contact there between one of the GT3s and Yamik Smith. It looks like they just came together. But this has opened out Jose Flores because now Yamik Smith is going very defensive into Parabolica round the final corner. Now, he knows how risky the cutback is. Is anyone diving into the pit lane this lap? Yes, indeed. They both are. Paul Stenner and Pierre Moreno also in the pits as well. So let's have a look further back. Is Tobias Gesh going to jump into the pit lane as well? Let us see here as around Parabolica. Yes, he does indeed. So this is the time, I think, for the LMH cars to box in. The driver that boxed in earliest, who wasn't Gadek, as I said before, Gadek is an outlier. I think he was involved in a lap one, incident. This is going to mean that the first driver to have pitted in the hypercar class would have been this one here, Senna in the 83 Ferrari. Now, we'll see. You do, from the look of it, get more or less a lap. On. So he was with Jose Flores and Daniels and Yamik Smith, who are basically coming out nose to tail, these two. So this will be very interesting now. As well for Adam Gadek, who boxed in earlier on, as he now, well, he was a pit stop in hand. However, this might mean, I will say again, might mean that he can make some moves up the field as well, depending on what else happens. As yes, pretty much all of the GT3 cars as well are coming in. So you can see there the top three of the hypercars yet to pit, but practically everyone else has boxed in and has left again, or is just in the box now. So this will be an interesting one, as Jose Flores is down 1.2 seconds on Yamik Smith. So he will have a fight to build that back up. In fact, as now the top three have pitted, which will give Stenner back the lead, and I think Moreno and Smith second and third back once again. Also looking back into the GT3, Jamie Booth is now in the lead of that class. He has not yet pitted, however. So he's hitting the box now, which will mean Martin Kovacs will likely take back that position on the road. As, here is Gianluca Petrillo just getting a nice look down the pit lane there. As you can see, I think that's Jamie Booth coming in to the box just behind him. So Daniel Scott will get himself past Petrillo. So too will Adam Gadek as well. So that will be Petrillo moved down. Dale Hughes here on the back of Tobias Gesh. 3/10 separating the Peugeot from the Cadillac. Tobias is in the blue Cadillac up ahead. Dale Hughes is in the Peugeot, which our camera is following at this moment. So let us have a see here, as I believe they're heading into Parabolica. They are not. Sorry, that was Lesmo 1. So you can tell how good I am at figuring out where we are on a circuit. So that gap, it is extending, but Tobias Gesh looked a bit all over the place coming out of Lesmo 2. That gap now sitting at apparently 8/10. It doesn't look like it, but it very much could be. It's further apart than they were before. It just looks like Dale Hughes gets a little bit twitchy through a scurry there, as we have Daniel Scott on the back of Tom Tweedy. As we are getting more yellow flags thrown. I'm expecting just for little minor scuffles. Tommy Teasdale here now. He is chasing down the rear end of Fail Games as we see one of the Porsche Hypercars go past. Now the question will be, where is he going to pounce? Where is he going to make his move? Because side to side as they head into the chicane, it looks like Tommy Teasdale's made his way through, but he's got a little bit snaky on the exit. This might allow Fail Games down the inside at Lesmo 1. Tommy Teasdale is holding the outside, but this is going to mean that Fail Games will get the inside there. And now there is a Hypercar coming into the mix as well. He is going to get stuck behind Fail Games. I believe from the look of it, that's Unique Smith and Jose Flores coming between the two of them. Now, drivers will be aware that you can flash your lights, as we have just got news of a DNF. That is James Andrews retiring to the box. I wonder what has happened there to James Andrews, as someone else is off here. Who was that? That's also a DNF. That is Daniel Scott. Drama happening here in the final half of the race. James Andrews has DNF'd. So too has Daniel Scott. Again, I will keep an eye on what has happened from the information I get to keep you all in the loop. If they are watching the stream, it'd be quite nice if they could just pop it in chat. I'm going to hazard the guess that Daniel Scott might have seen a little bit of contact because he was sideways on in the gravel, which I'm not a racing driver. However, I do believe that is not the optimum way to have your car, is sideways in the gravel. So I'll keep an eye. We've got no other news at the moment, but this is the battle we're still with, is Tommy Teasdale on Fail Games. From the look of it, Fail Games actually got himself back up ahead of Tommy. So the Porsche will have to be fighting once again. And they are getting closer, but there is, I believe that's Dale Hughes coming through there as well. So that is probably one of the better places for as a GT3. As a GT3 to come across the Hypercar on the exit of Parabolica. As we're getting in chat, he spun on Lesmo 1, I know how that feels. I'm guessing that's what's happened to James Andrews as well, most likely. So yeah, very, very easily done, and yeah, going sideways in, as we've got another DNF as well. No, we have not. Sorry, what I meant to say is we've got someone in the box And that is Raffaele Sanseverino. So he's coming in for a very interestingly timed pit stop here, because everyone else has boxed. So could that possibly be for damage, or possibly for a quick, easy tyre change to get him through to the end of the race? I'll have to keep you guys in the loop of that one, as Tommy Teasdale has once again got himself past fail games. So this time around, hopefully, he may be able to hold it. But that gap further up is 25.5 seconds between P5 and P4 in GT3. And he's still got to consider fail games behind them, because those two, I believe, will be locked in a battle for a little bit longer now. But at current, here is your race leader overall and hypercar is Paul Stenner. He's now pulled an 18-second gap to Pierre Moreno. What a drive he is having. And here is your leader of GT3 is Martin Kovacs in the Corvette. There you can see, just as one of the hypercars just sliding on past. I believe that one was Pierre Moreno. As looking into the chat, for my information, almost managed to work out a saving pattern, which I think with the heavier rain would have been a one-stop, but ploughed it into Parabolica on the last lap instead. Engine died, managed to coast back to the box, but it was a massive repair. Ow! So, not the most ideal of ends there for Mr. Andrews. A shame, really, if you managed to figure out a one-stop strategy that would have worked. That probably would have done you very well, but in the end, the racing lords had decreed that it was not to be, as Adam Gadek once again in the pit lane for a second stop. Or is this a third stop? Not sure. As we're going to check in with David, who is chasing down the rear end of Mark McNaughton. Through comes one of the Ferraris. David just slipping out the way. Now the question is, where is Mark McNaughton going to be caught? Doesn't look like it's going to be in the middle of a scar. It looks like it's going to be down the straight as well. So really there's no harm, no foul there on the lap time for either of those two. Here we see Adam Gadek just once again working his way up the GT3 field. He's now running in 4th in the GT3s. Just trying to keep us in the loop. He'll have Dale Hughes up ahead as well, but part of me believes Gadek is a lap down. Possibly. Let's have a look here. Gadek is 2 laps down, so the GT3 field is running roughly 2 laps down on the hypercar field. So that is not the most of ideal circumstances. Really there for them. So at the moment everything has sort of happily stuck itself into a lull, basically. So we'll have to keep an eye here. As But here's Adam Gallick fighting for P3 in the GT3 class against Thomas Jack. Just managed to get his way past there into Curva Grande. So yeah, at the moment, there isn't really much for me to report to you about. So, for now, let us jump in to our mid-race results. This is how things stand at the moment. So, Paul Stenner just coming across the line here to complete his 21st lap. So, it's Paul Stenner followed by Pierre Moreno, Jose Flores, Yamik Smith, Tobias Gesh, Dale Hughes, Senna Derrisike, Gianluca Petrello, Tom Tweedy, and Adam Gallick make up your top 10, with Daniel Scott having retired from the race. In GT3, Martin Kovacs is your leader, followed by Robin Molling, Thomas Jack, Jamie Booth, Tommy Teasdale, Fail Games, Mark McNaughton, David Epitashvili, Justin Gottlieb, and Vasilis. Then on page 2, we have Raffaele Sanseverino and James Andrews, who retired from the race earlier on today with a crash at Parabolica. Keeping an eye on Hypercars passing Robin and Tom. Okie dokie, let us have a look here. I mean, Tom is currently locked in conversation with one of the McLarens down the start finish straight. This is not for position, that is just a lapping. However, it's a lot harder to lap a car of the same class as you, because they're in the same class. Their performance, their car, is roughly the same as yours. So it makes it a lot harder, I would say, to lap someone that is running more or less the same equipment as you are. But we can see a hypercar appearing in the background as we pass the 20-minute remaining mark. Now, Thomas Jack has 1.1 seconds between himself and Robin Molling, and I know from these two they are very, very quick drivers. As yeah, there is a hypercar. It is one of the Ferraris. I'm not 100% sure which is appearing there. It is either Senna Derrisike or Gianluca Petrillo, but not through the middle of Ascari. That will help out life a lot easier. It was indeed Senna just making his way past first Thomas Jack, now to get his way past Robin Molling as well. Robin Molling, a little bit of a snap of oversteer there, and through he goes. Little snaps of oversteer aren't a dreadful thing in the grand scheme of racing. It's when it's a snap that you can't quite get back under wraps that it becomes a struggle. But now we'll have a look around. Senna is coming up on Martin Kovacs by the seams of it. I mean, you can still see from the windscreen how much the rain is still coming down. I don't know if some people were hoping for a possible break in the rain to go on to dries, but it doesn't look like it's coming. Just listen to the engine here. Of the hypercar, you can just hear how on throttle you have to be, as there is another little snap there for Senna. He has caught quite a few snaps of oversteer on the exits of corners that he's held each time, which has been very, very fun to watch. As now we have Jose Flores, who is chasing down, there he is, Mr. Pierre Moreno, for second overall. So that gap was massive earlier on, but now it's come down to half a second. So what in the indeedy has happened here? Well, I'm not sure, but we will be able to get a very, very fun watch out of it, in fact. As we are on board with the 93 Peugeot of Jose Flores. You can see he is just chasing down Pierre Moreno. That gap is 4/10. Pierre, though, very experienced when it comes to defending as well as attacking. Now, the question will be, how will these two do? As we'll get the last lap time. The last lap time looks like it's gone to Jose Flores. But the best lap time looks like it's in Pierre's favour. If I'm reading that right. If I'm not, it might be both. As Pierre Moreno there, out-braking himself into the chicane. That is going to mean that he'll have to give up time to Jose Flores. In fact, he lets him through. It looked like it was just a bit of an outbreak there for Pierre Moreno on the chicane. So for now, Jose Flores will be running up in second place in the hypercars. Now it's on him to build a gap, as Pierre Moreno dropping down to third position. And here is your gained and lost share. Stenner hasn't gained anything. Flores up 5 positions. Smith stayed where he was. Hughes has gone up 6 positions. Believe our highest climber. Senna has jumped up 2 as well. So too has Kovacs. Apparently. Jack and Booth both up by 1. Teasdale up by 2. Fail Games by 3. So too is David. Gottlieb up by 4 as well. So some people gaining, some people not gaining at the time, as Jose Flores has pulled that gap now to a second between himself and Pierre Moreno. I don't think Jose Flores is going to be able to take the fight to Paul Stenner at this point, with 14 minutes left to go in the race. Stenner, I think, is just driving really in a world of his own. So he will be very happy with that. Me do think. So, down the start finish straight again we go. Sorry. 12 minutes remaining. Oh, bumpy. Sorry if anyone's wondering what I am also doing at the moment. I forgot to order myself dinner for before the stream started, so I'm just doing that now. As there we go, we are back. So really, at this moment in time, there isn't much happening. We've got a little bit of lapping that had just occurred. But at the moment, everything seems all well and calm. Tommy Teasdale, however, is in the box. He's just been released with 11 minutes left, so possibly a two-stopper there for him. We've got a couple of drivers who are running a two-stop. Tommy Teasdale on a two-stop. Senna and Tweedy on a two-stop. McNaughton, Teasdale and Fail Games on a two as well. Same with San Severino as well. With 10 minutes left to go in the race, however, I mean, even Powell Stenner is coming in the box too. However, what is the remaining energy on these cars? Oh, right. Okay, never mind. Yes, a two-stop. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Pierre Moreno, though, down in 4th? What happened to Pierre? Has he run out of energy? No, he's still got 2%. So what's happened to Pierre Moreno then? Because he was up in 2nd, then lost out to Flores. And then next thing I look, he's down in 4th? This is very interesting, but for the drivers who are staying out with just under 10 minutes to go, where is this going to leave the final standings? I mean, Stenner's already back out of the pits and already running, which we all expected anyway. He had a massive lead to begin with when he hit the box. I mean, even Justin Gottlieb's coming in, but Justin Gottlieb, from the look of it there, you can see has damage. So possibly, has he had a little bit of a run-in with Pierre Moreno? It is a possibility here, as Pierre Moreno there, from the look of it, is on pit lane out. So too is Tobias Gesh, who will be coming out a little bit behind him. David also popping into the pit lane as well. So too is Gianluca Petrillo coming out. We have Mark McNaughton. Justin Gottlieb is going to be in there with a decent repair time, I do think. So we'll just see here. Senna is going to be taking at least one position off of Gianluca Petrillo. So he boxed in earlier on a two-stop, which seems to be the run for the hypercars. I mean, Martin Kovacs also in the pits as well. So that is your class leader of GT3, who's just pitting out now as well. That must be a very annoying pit box to go into. Justin Gottlieb also coming out of the pit lane. That is not going to have helped him out much, though, because from the look of it, as he came on into the pit lane, I saw that the rear wing of that car was no longer doing its job. I think his rear wing had resigned to the gravel trap by the look of it. But then this should now be the final run of pit stops. Tobias Gesh running just under 4 seconds off of Pierre Moreno. He was one of the front running cars at the race in Bahrain. So we know the speed that Tobias Gesh has, but as I said, rain is a great equalizer. So, with 7 minutes left, here is your your LMH. Class leader is Paul Stenner in the Toyota. He's got a 14.5-second gap to Hughes behind him. As well, Hughes himself has a 30-second gap to the car behind him as well. So at the moment we have a lot of gaps, but Jamie Booth hitting the pit lane. And Dale Hughes also coming in there as well. So Dale Hughes pitting in from P2 in LMH. Jamie Booth pitting in from P1 on the tarmac, but now Martin Kovacs will be coming in on the undercut here. Dale Hughes already coming out, so it's just a very, very quick splash and dash for them. Probably not even really a splash and dash, probably a charge and dash. But here you can see the energies remaining for the hypercar class. We'll just set it in case. So here we go. You can see some cars 37, 40, 7, 36, 42, 32, 7, 17, 19, 26. And the number of stops as well. Some drivers having made 3 in today's race. Mark McNaughton and Adam Gadek being those two. Jose Flores, though, only making 1 stop at the current moment. So that might be why he has built such a gap, is because at the moment he's running just 1 pit stop, and with the energy remaining of 38%, I believe it will roughly just be, if he's got the fuel and the tyres to make it work and to take a resounding 2nd place, it is definitely, I think, the possibility. But we are going to jump down now to Tobias Gesh. Here's on the back of Pierre Moreno. There is a GT3 there. I believe from the look of it, that would likely be a Thomas Jack. So Cadillac piloted by Tobias Gesh. Porsche up ahead piloted by Pierre Moreno. Little bit of a slide there out of the Cadillac on the exit of Ascari. We've seen that quite a lot today already. Here we are on the rear diffuser. There is, I think, a Jamie Booth. Just on the brakes now for Parabolica. Pierre Moreno already in 5th. Remember, he started today's race in 2nd position. But you can see that Cadillac of Tobias Gesh is getting closer and closer and closer. Now on the brakes, look at that. There is the Cadillac. That is a very interesting thing to see. You just saw out of the spray a Cadillac appear behind you. That, I think, wouldn't be the most settling of sights, but now that gap is sitting at 7/10 between the two. There is a GT3 though in the mixer as well. That is going to hold up Pierre Moreno just a little bit. Maybe Adam Gadek can seize on this, depending on if he is going to get stuck. Sorry, Tobias Gesh, sorry, not Adam Gadek. If he is going to get stuck behind the GT3 into Lesmo 1, which, yes, by the look of it, he is. That is going to allow Pierre Moreno some breathing room. Another little slide there through Lesmo 2 for the Cadillac. This is a sign that Tobias Gesh is pushing. He is pushing that car along. He is willing it on. Now, down the straight we go. We've got 2 minutes 16 left. Where is Pavel Stenner? He is in Lesmo 2 by the look of it. Was I right? Have I got it right for once? Yeah, he's done it. So I believe we will have one more to go. If I am right, Raffaele Sanseverino is in the box again as well. So I don't know what is up with that car today. It isn't seeming to be the day for Raffaele there. As with 1 minute and 36 on the clock, this will indeed, I think, be the last lap. Now, I would be putting out a driver of the day thing as I used to, however I cannot. LMU uses all of my RAM, so I can't throw together a quick one, but we've definitely seen some interesting driving today, some strategy choices come into fruition. Fruition? What's the word? Fruition. I'm just sat here trying to figure out how to say the word that I'm looking for. But one driver I will give a special mention to during today's race is this man here, Jose Flores. He has done this race on 1 stop so far. Everyone else has done 2 or 3. This is the hypercar that has managed it in 1 stop. With the race timer having run out, this will mean that across the line will be your race winner. As coming in to Parabolica now for the final time. An hour ago he was on pole position. An hour later, here he is again coming back around to take the victory. Is Pavel Stenner there in the number 7 Toyota. Coming through next at some point will be Jose Flores. But now a look back. Tobias Gesh is still chasing Pierre Moreno. This is the last lap, by the way. So for Tobias, this will be a chance of do it now or don't do it at all. And I think, really, it might end up being a case of don't do it at all, because he's going to have David there onto the grass just to get past the Mustang. Now, down towards the Scari. Is he going to be able to make it work? I mean, the gap there is sitting at 8/10 together. I don't think he is going to be able to get it. Not unless Pierre Moreno has a massive issue coming in, because that gap is now sitting at 1.2 seconds. Pierre Moreno past the GT3 car into Parabolica. That is gonna solidify Pierre Moreno in 5th. And soon enough, who will come through and take your victory for the GT3 class? Well, it will indeed be Martin Kovacs. What a race he's had as well. Once again, Kovacs just shows that he can just drive off and have his own little Sunday drive. And he comes through to win the LMGT3 class. We're still waiting for a few more drivers to come through. Pierre Moreno is in the pit lane. Thomas Jack, Robin Molling as well. Robin Molling has finished. Jamie Booth coming through in 3rd for the GT3 class, and Thomas Jack coming through in 4th. So here are your race results. For the Hypercar class first, coming through to take the victory was Paul Stenner, followed by Jose Flores. Dale Hughes and Yamik Smith make up 3rd and 4th. In 5th and 6th, we have Pierre Moreno and Tobias Gesh. In 7th and 8th, we have Tom Tweedy and Senna. Then in 10th, we have Adam Gadek, with Daniel Scott not finishing that race. Moving on to GT3, taking the class win there is Martin Kovacs, followed by Robin Molling, Jamie Booth, Thomas Jack, Tommy Teasdale, Mark McNaughton, Fail Games, David, Justin Gottlieb, Vasilis, or Virus as I call him, and Raffaele Sanseverino is coming through there in 11th with James Andrews, who didn't finish. What a race that was, though. The rain at Monza always bringing an interesting mix. But we will see you once again in 2 weeks' time for the next round. The next round being... I literally have this up 2 seconds. So, yes, thank you for joining me here tonight. I have been Huski. Join us in 2 weeks on the 18th of May, where it will not be myself joining you, as I am at the real circuit, but for Imola. So we're staying in Italy for another round in 2 weeks' time. Then on the 1st of June, we have Interlagos, followed by, on the 8th of June, a 1 week gap for round 5, the final at Fuji. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I have been Huski, and goodbye.